Hello, welcome to Talking the Secret Doctrine. My name is Dr. Don Franklin Shepherd, and today we will be continuing our study of H.P. Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine, the third part in Volume 1, and in particular, pages 529 to pages 531. Once again, we will be using H.P. Blavatsky's The Secret Doctrine, published by Theosophical University Press, located out at Pasadena, California. In this first paragraph, H.P. Blavatsky is continuing with the theme that we've talked about before regarding the solar fluids. That is, that fourth layer of the mundane egg that drops down into the third layer, the second layer, and the first layer of the mundane egg. And in this particular paragraph, the first paragraph, she is dealing with the theme as to whether attraction and repulsion, gravity, is sufficient to explain planetary motion. And ultimately, H.P. Blavatsky argues that there is another cause that has to be examined beyond the ideas of attraction and repulsion. Here's what she writes. Attraction by itself is not sufficient to explain merely planetary motion. How can it presume to explain the rotary motion in the infinitudes of space? Attraction alone will never fill all the gaps unless a special impulse is admitted for every sidereal body, and the rotation of every planet with its satellites is shown to be due to some one cause combined with attraction. And even then, says an astronomer, science would have to name that cause. So let us go ahead and name that cause. The one cause which H.P. Blavatsky is referring to here is Elias Center. That is the scientific fact for her, which has to be taken account, though it's intertwined with gravity, is the Elias Center. And what is Elias Center? Well, let's go ahead and turn to Gita Purukhar's Occult Glossary, once again also published by Theosophical University Press. If we take a look at page 86, Gita Purukhar defines Elias Center. He writes, a point of disappearance, which is the Sanskrit meaning. Laya is from the Sanskrit root li, meaning to dissolve, to disintegrate, or to vanish away. Elias Center is the mystical point where a thing disappears from one plane and passes onwards to reappear on another plane. It is that point or spot, any point or spot in space, which, owing to karmic law, suddenly becomes the center of active life, first on a higher plane, and later descending into manifestation through and by the Elias centers of the lower planes. In one sense, then, Elias Center may be conceived of as a canal, a channel through which the vitality of the superior spheres pours down into and inspires and breathes into the lower planes or states of matter, or rather of substance. So the one cause is a Elias Center. And remember, in the previous section when we were discussing the solar fluids, we discussed all of the little great breaths that are taking place within the lower part of the mundane egg. And that means that the lower part of the mundane egg is filled with Elias centers. So it is the migration of consciousness. We're now looking at the fifth layer of the mundane egg, through the Elias center, through the canal, into the fourth layer of the mundane egg, into the field of the solar suns, that is responsible for the rotary motion of the planets. And remember, that fifth layer of the mundane egg is the layer of the gods, is the layer of consciousness, is the layer of intelligence. Therefore, the lower four layers of the mundane egg are established through intelligence by design. And let's go ahead and continue now here with the second paragraph there on page 529. Occultism has named it for ages, and so have all the ancient philosophers. The extracosmic God has killed every possibility of belief in intracosmic intelligent forces. Yet who or what is the original pusher in that motion? Now, these intracosmic forces are the gods of the fifth layer of the mundane egg. And because consciousness is intertwined with light, Blavatsky uses the word intra as opposed to inter. That is, the consciousness of the gods is entwined with the light, and all of this pours through the canal, the channel of the Laya center, emerging on the other side, that is into the fourth layer of the mundane egg, causing the rotary motion of the planets. Yes, attraction can account for much at that point within our system. But Blavatsky is pointing to this intra-system, this connection between matter and consciousness in the solar fluids as light. And let's continue. When we've learned the cause unique that pushes us, we will be ready to combine it with the one which attracts. Attraction between the celestial bodies is only repulsion. It is the sun that drives them incessantly onward, for otherwise their motion would stop. Yes, the sun is pushing everything incessantly onwards, but that is because the sun, the fourth layer of the mundane egg, is receiving the impetus from the fifth layer of the mundane egg through the Laya center. And let's go ahead and continue in the third paragraph. If ever this theory of the sun force being the primal cause of all life on earth and motion in heaven is accepted, and if that other far bolder one of Herschel about certain organisms in the sun is accepted even as a provisional hypothesis, then will our teachings be vindicated and esoteric allegories shown to have anticipated modern science by millions of years. Probably, for these are the archaic teachings. And there at the very bottom of the paragraph, she finishes up. It is the solar fluids, or emanations, that impart all motion and awaken all into life in the solar system. It is attraction and repulsion, but not as understood by modern physics and according to the law of gravity, but in harmony with the laws of manvantaric motion. And that's because she's envisioning the manvantara as the receiving force, the receiving time period that receives those inner intelligent forces moving through the Laya center, that establishes the dawn of that particular manvantara. The laws of the manvantaric motion, designed from the early Sandhya, the dawn of the rebuilding and higher reformation of the system. These laws are immutable, but the motion of all the bodies, which motion is diverse and alters with every minor kalpa, that is, there's the great breath, there's the great breath of the great Mahamanvantara, then there's all the little breaths, the minor kalpas, the little manvantaras, is regulated by the movers, the intelligences within the cosmic soul. And here she spells cosmic with a C. We know here the soul, we're dealing with the fifth layer of the mundane egg. The movers, who are the movers? The movers are those gods in the fifth layer of the mundane egg. Their essence, their being, moving through the canal, moving through the Laya center, into the fourth layer of the mundane egg, causing the rotary motion within the solar system, and then allowing attraction and repulsion to take its natural effect. This is why they were referred to as the movers. The gods in the fifth layer of the mundane egg, moving through the Laya center into the fourth layer of the mundane egg. This is ultimately the cause, the one cause of the rotary motion that H.P. Blavatsky is referring to in The Secret Doctrine. Now let's just briefly turn our attention over to page 531, looking at one of the middle paragraphs there where she's talking about ultimately a solar manvantara and a solar pralaya. This is what she writes. The idea attempted to be conveyed by the theory is that between the molecules of the matter, solid or fluid, of which the nervous organisms, and indeed of which all the organic parts of a body are composed, there exists a refined subtle medium, vaporous or gaseous, which holds the molecules in a condition for motion upon each other and for arrangement and rearrangement of form, a medium by and through which all motion is conveyed, by and through which the one organ or part of the body is held in communion with the other parts, by which and through which the outer living world communicates with the living man, a medium which, being present, enables the phenomena of life to be demonstrated, and which, being universally absent, leaves the body actually dead. And then she concludes, and the whole solar system falls into pralaya, the author might have added. And so what we're dealing with here then is we're dealing with those intelligent forces in the fifth layer of the mundane egg, working through matter in the fourth layer of the mundane egg. We're referring to a solar manvantara here, and we're referring to a lifespan of approximately 60 billion years. So all of the forces of God are pouring through a Laya center into the sun through solar fluids. All of this is going on for 60 billion years. And then when those forces are withdrawn, going back from the fourth layer up to the fifth layer, leaving matter apparently dead, we have the close of a 60 billion solar manvantara, and we have the beginning of a solar pralaya. There are some really beautiful passages in the Secret Doctrine. I think some of these in the scientific section of the third part of the first volume are some of her finest. Thank you so much. See you again.